Hello guys and welcome back to the GCOR Show. Today we're going to be ranking the GCOR driver season after 4 races. So basically how this is going to work is going to be obviously based on expectation. Let's say we've got a driver who's known to be in the midfield and this season they're performing somewhere near the top. They'd get a rating of, let's say, an A. But vice versa, let's say we have a driver who's used to fighting at the top. Everyone expects them to be at the top, but they're doing badly. They're somewhere at the bottom. Then they'd get a rating of D, for example. So yeah, that's how this is going to work. We're going to go from all the way from A plus all the way down to D minus, and I'll only be doing the top 15 drivers because they're the only drivers who have scored points this season. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this. And the first driver I've got, Marshy. Marshy's season has been very good, very good. It's been sprinkled with a bit of controversy here and there, most notably at obviously last time out at Qatar, winning that Grand Prix. He tried an alternate strategy of starting on the hards, moving onto the mediums, and then obviously another fresh set of mediums once the second safety car came in, and it worked. But if it wasn't for an incident with Charlie Dool, and Charlie Dool eventually won the race because of the 6-second penalty. If it wasn't for the incident, Marshy would have won 3 out of the first 4 races, and you know what? That's a very strong start to the season, one of the strongest in modern day GCOR history. And honestly, it was a silly reason as well. It was a silly reason. It was penalty worthy, most definitely. But Marshy, he did an illegal overtake on Charlie, and then decided to give back the position on the corner. I mean, I understand he tried giving back the position, which is alright. I mean, fair play, I guess. I mean, I think he was told to do that. But on a corner, right on the apex as well, like, there's a straight literally right after that corner as well. He could have done it there, and if he does that there, with the pace that Marshy had in that McLaren, I think he would have got past Charlie and, wouldn't have lost much time, and would have actually, kept his race win. With that said, Marshy still had a very good season. He's been very quick. Obviously won at Japan, solidifying the 1-2 for McLaren. Crazy, they're still getting 1-2. They don't have Hurricane and Charlie anymore, but Marshy and Smudge, not too bad of a duo, to be fair. Australia managed to finish P3, Singapore P1, and Qatar P3. So I mean, a P3, a P1, a P3, a P1, and a P3 for Marshy. I think that's been a very solid start to the season. Whether he can continue this, good run of form, yet to be seen. Currently, he's 8 points ahead of Hurricane in the championship, and he's got a slight buffer to Coward, 32 points. But I think he's actually managed to solidify his spot as #1 driver against Smudge. We'll get to Smudge a little bit later. 56 points is the difference between Marshy and Smudge. So, as I said, we'll get to Smudge a bit later. But Marshy's done very well, especially entering a team where I guess nobody's really #1. If anyone had to be chosen as #1 at the start of the season, I think it would have been Smudge, as he's reigning world champion. But Marshy's done a brilliant job, and as long as he can keep it clean, I think it's going to be a very good championship with him and Hurricane. So Marshy, I'll grade him an A. Hurricane, P2 in the championship. Again, another driver who's had a very good season. Obviously, it's not been as good a season as the last few. The last few seasons where he's been leading the championship at this stage. But nevertheless, still managed to bag a race win at Australia. Still managed to finish on the podium at every race this season. A P3 at Japan, just beating Coward on the line. Australia got a little bit lucky there with Coward and Marshy making contact. Singapore finishing P2 there, and then obviously at Qatar, comeback drive all the way from I think it was P7 to P2 in the dying stages of the Grand Prix. Definitely very well done from Hurricane, and I think it's those type of results which you look back at the end of the season. And if Hurricane does go on to win his 3rd championship, then he's going to be looking at races like Qatar, the comeback races where it was looking, doom and gloom, looking very doom and gloom. He had to fight Chiconas. There was a little bit of controversy there. Stewards have said nothing about it. He made a little bit of contact with Ladtastic on the final lap. He sent it on Commander and on Peter, causing some damage. That was investigated by the stewards. Eventually there was no further investigation, but in the midst of everything, he managed to set a 123.3, which is a crazy lap, you know, on mediums as well. So yeah, Hurricane did very well, and I think an A minus. The reason it's not an A is because if you're comparing it to the other seasons, he has had better seasons up to this point. I'm not saying he's had a bad season, that's why he's got an A, you know. But yeah, A minus I think seems about fair. The man third in the championship is Coward, who's on an A, and honestly, I think the driver standings do not prove justice to how good Coward's been this season and to how close the championship actually should be. And you know, there's still a chance that the championship can get closer. We're only 4 races into the season out of 12. Coward's missed a race at Qatar, and he's third. He's third. I mean, 32 points behind Marshy. Hurricane 24 points. Marshy, obviously, as we found out last season, missed the final part of the season, so that's always a possibility for Marshy missing races. Hurricane, less of a possibility as we've seen, but 24-point gap. Maybe if Hurricane gets a DNF, maybe if he gets, you know, bad luck or a mechanical issue, and Coward wins on the same race weekend, just like that, 25-point swing in the Scotsman's favour. I'd rank his season in A. This season, Japan, P4, just missed out on the podium to Hurricane. Australia, should have won Australia. Heartbreak for Coward there. That's probably one of the saddest parts of the season up to this point. Singapore, another brilliant drive for P3, and obviously he wasn't there at Qatar. I think he's done a really good job. He's seemed much more comfortable in his environment. Maybe it's because, you know, obviously it's his second full season here, third season signed up, but second full season. And this is actually the last season of his contract, so I think he'll be trying to improve Genius so that he can get a contract renewal, you know, at the GN7 team. Whether he can continue this good form, I think it's all mental with Coward, to be honest. It's all mental. If he can continue just locking in, taking it lap by lap, corner by corner, yeah, most definitely. I can see a bright future for Coward, and who knows, champion? I mean, right now the top 3 is looking like the least likely, but who knows, man, long season to go. But yeah, I'll give his season an A, same as Marshy an A. So we've got Marshy on A, Hurricane on A minus, and Coward on A. Next we've got Charlie Dorr. We've got Charlie Dorr, who's had a really, you know what, his season started like poorly at Japan. I'm not gonna lie, he had a very poor start at Japan. Finished the race, but finished P11, so no points. The only driver who managed to finish and didn't score any points at Japan, so definitely a underwhelming Ferrari return in Asia. Went to Australia again. I think he made contact with someone, sorry, or he spun or something like that. It's a very good comeback drive to P4. Obviously there was a lot of controversy that race with Domi and Chiconas, but you know, Charlie managed to take advantage. Midget Matt got a 10-second penalty, and just like that, a P7, a potential DNF, turned into P4. Very good points. Next up was Singapore. Kept it clean, kept his nose out of trouble. Had quite good pace actually. Finished P4 again on the road. And last time out at Qatar, managed to get the win. You know, his second race win in GCOR history. And Charlie's season, really, it would have been an A if it wasn't for Japan. So Charlie's getting a B+. He's had a very good season. Obviously, the top boys really have been the likes of Hurricane, Marshy and Coward. And even Smudge from time to time. Well, we'll get to Smudge in a minute. But really, it's like GCOR 2.0 type of thing, you know. I see GCOR 2.0 as guys like Charlie Dorr. I see guys like Midget Matt even in there. Guys like Luigi, even guys like Chiconas from time to time in there. But right now, Charlie Dorr, he's closer to the top boys than he is to the midfielders, you know. 2 points away from Coward. Obviously, I know Coward's missed a race. 34 points behind the championship leader. I'm not saying that he's going to be fighting for the championship, but definitely it's been a very solid start for Charlie Dorr. Whether he can keep this good run of form going, we'll have to see, really. We'll have to see. I mean, We've seen something like this in the past, you know, where Charlie's had a really good start to the season. We saw this last season. I even made a video saying, is Charlie Dorr a future world champion? You know, his season kind of like petered out towards the mid stage and towards the end of the season. Season before that, he started his season off brightly once again. Even guys were saying he's fighting the championship with Hurricane, winning obviously at Singapore. And then his season kind of again petered out. So we'll have to see. Hopefully, for Charlie Dorr and Ferrari's sake, his season doesn't peter out again. But definitely, it's been a very good start. Give him a B+. Next up is a man 5th in the standings, Chiconas. And yeah, he's had a really weird season. I think if you compare it to last season, it's very similar. This was, I guess, to be expected. Qualifying at Japan didn't go his way, with obviously getting impeded by Charlie Dorr. Charlie Dorr managed to get away with it though, because I think his car was in AI mode or something like that. He was desynced. He is desynced. He had a mechanical issue. He was desynced. I remember now. So qualifying didn't go right. The race was okay. P7 there at Japan. Australia, sprint race, a P6. Main race, P6. And you're going to see a common trend with Chiconas actually. Obviously there's that controversy with Domi. So nearly could have been a P4, but obviously P6. Singapore, guess what? Another P6. Qualifying did not go his way. Made contact with Peter Place at the start. Was a no man's land for pretty much the whole race. And ended up finishing P6. Once again. And Qatar, guess what? You wouldn't believe it. Chiconas finishes where? P6 once again. So I don't know what it is about that P6 position for Chiconas. This might actually be a new record, to be fair. I mean, 4 consecutive races in the same position other than P1. So that's kind of crazy. Not sure Chick would want that type of record, but yeah, I mean, his season's been okay. Obviously he's not got the pace that he had before he stepped down, but it's one of those seasons where I think Chiconas has kind of like embraced the fact that he's a midfielder. But you can see he's still performing at a decent level. It's not like he's dropped to the bottom. I mean, P5 in the standings is, you know, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. He knows his place in the team. He knows Coward's #1. And yeah, I mean, when I think about Chiconas right now, I'm just thinking about when it's bad, it's not that bad. But when it's good, it's not that good. It's just mid, really. That's what I think about. I just think about mid. I mean, clearly the P6s say everything. When the grid is big, he's still finishing P6. When the grid is small, he's still finishing P6. So it's one of those things, really. Coda is the next race. Obviously, he's got a really good record around Coda. But obviously, you know, we'll have to see what happens for the rest of the season. I mean, I think if Chick were to finish P5, he'd be happy with that. He'd take that. But obviously, a long season to go. So I'd give Chick. I'll be nice to him. I'll give him a B minus, almost a C, but B minus. Smudge. Well, this is where it starts getting a little bit bleak. Smudge, I'll give him a grade D. Smudge has got the pace. Yeah, that's, you know, there's no denying that. He's always had the pace. That's why he's reigning world champion right now. Some may say he was a favorite going into the season. Japan was fine, finishing P2 behind his teammate. You know, decent start to the season. Australia, that's where things started going wrong. You know, sprint race P2 was fine. Main race P7. Got contact, I think, at the start. Race was over. Singapore. Crashed in quali. That was big. That was big. And yeah, some may say that might just be the turning point, really, for this season. You know, the crash in quali, and then the race at DNF as well. Not quite sure how he DNF'd. I think it was just the car was too damaged. Had to retire the car, and yeah, that was about it. So Smudge, really, it's been a very, very disappointing season for him up to this stage. Didn't turn up to Qatar. And currently, the points gap between Smudge and the championship leader, who is his teammate, is 56 points. Championship gap between the two McLaren drivers is actually bigger than the amount of points Smudge has. You know, it's been a very, very poor season for Smudge. Championship-wise, McLaren came in as massive favourites. But guess what? Ferrari have just overtaken them. in the standings. You know, they're 14 points behind Ferrari, 18 points ahead of GN7 Mercedes. You know, did not think this was going to happen, especially after round one. You know, makes the championship interesting. Smudge can always save it. I'm not going to say he's going to win the championship. I think it's too far away for that. But I can definitely see Smudge finishing in a third place this season. I can see him obviously getting past Chiconas in the standings. That's not too hard to do. I mean, there's only 2 points between them, and Smudge's got so much more pace as well. Charlie Dool, I can see him getting past Charlie Dool as the races go. Right now, 22 points is the gap between him and Charlie. And Coward, you know, 24 points between Coward and Smudge. Coward, you know, past few seasons, has had a reputation of having the pace but not being able to get the results that he's deserved. You know, this season's been different. You know, he's had pace. There's only one race where I look at and I'm like, oh, he didn't get the position where he deserved, and that was the P2 at Australia, which should have been a win. But even that wasn't even his fault. You know, hence why he got an A, as I said previously in the video. But yeah, no, Smudge, it's not been a good season for him. He can definitely turn it around, and I think McLaren is still favourite for the standings for the Constructors' title. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he's 6th right now, I mean, that is unacceptable, really. Especially if you look at the expectations. You know, you look at those top 3 teams. I'm looking at that, I'm thinking McLaren 1-2, maybe McLaren 1-3 at worst, you know, in terms of the drivers, not a McLaren 1-6. So I mean, I'm sure Smudge will pick up his act, will start putting in those world champion performances as he did last season. And obviously never count him out, you know. I mean, he's reigning world champion for a reason. But if he were to win the championship, this would be the biggest overhaul in GCOR history, you know, closing up a 56-point gap. And that gap may even get bigger before it gets smaller between himself and Marshy. So yeah, Marshy is a D. Matt's a C. You know, Midget Matt's the next guy. I've said he's going to be upgraded him a C. Not much has happened really. I mean, he DNF'd at Japan. Australia finished P5, finished P4 on the road, but then had the 10-second penalty. Singapore gambled on the dry tires. The gamble didn't work out. Ended up finishing P8. So yeah, it's not been too bad of a season for Matt, but it's been like, I wouldn't say it's been a good season either. He wasn't there at Qatar. It's been like he's been solid. He's been solid. Not really much else to say about Matt. Currently sits 7th in standings on 19 points. Definitely, as we've seen the other seasons, he's the complete opposite to Charlie. Charlie peters off towards the end of the season. Matt gets better towards the end of the season, you know, and we didn't see that. You know, we've never seen it as powerful as we have as in season 4. In season 4, when he was at GN7 Mercedes, the way that he just managed to start winning races bit by bit, and obviously that was the first time anyone had beaten Chick in terms of head-to-head, in terms of race wins, you know, in a season, like teammate-wise. Nobody had beaten Chick teammate-wise, and Midget Matt was the first guy to do so. Obviously, since then, Coward's managed to do that as well. But yeah, he beat him 2-1, and I can see that happening again this season. Obviously, last season he managed to win at Silverstone. He loves that track, Silverstone. And I can see Matt getting more good performances. I think a race win will be tough, but who knows? If he managed to win last season in what many called the hardest grid in GCOR history, don't write him off for another race victory here this season, especially at Silverstone, you know. So I've given him a C. Peter Plays is next. I've given him a C+. I think Peter Plays he's shown good pace. He wasn't there at Australia, but he was there at Japan. Finished P8 after starting P15. Messed up qualifying, but very good drive to P8. As I said, wasn't there at Australia, and that was a sprint weekend, so definitely lost some points there. Singapore made contact with Chiconas on lap 1. The damage was too bad to continue. Had to retire. Very unfortunate there. It's one of those things, you know, the lap 1 incidents. And Qatar, you know, obviously let's not forget he's a GN7 Academy driver. Stepped in for the big boy team. Actually beat Chiconas, you know. Obviously, I understand there was some team play going on over there, you know. Chiconas gave the position to Peter Plays, and then Peter Plays managed to make the most of that, you know. He managed to make the most of that. Finished P4. Could have been a first podium for Peter Plays wearing the GN7 race suit. But no, P4 is still very good. I mean, that's still higher than what Chiconas has finished this season. So yeah, most definitely, very good job from Peter Plays. And if he can continue having that same pace at Qatar, at the rest of the races this season, I mean, I think there may be an uncomfortable conversation happening in the GN7 headquarters between, you know, who's going to be partnering up with Coward next season. Will it be Chiconas? Will it be Peter Plays? If they see more potential in the Hungarian, I think most definitely he'll be getting the nod, you know, ahead of the veteran. He drove very well, and as I said, if he can continue this for the rest of the season, who knows, man? Who knows? Going into Gen 4 Season 4. Next, we have Gibbo, 8th in the standings. 9th in the standings. On 15 points. Didn't show up at Qatar. A lot of drivers didn't, to be fair. Easter weekend, obviously. I hope everyone had a great Easter as well. Race 1, qualified 13th, got knocked out in Q2. Came back to the points paying positions in P9. Australia. Finished P9 in the main race, P8 in the sprint race. And then Singapore stayed out of trouble, finished P5. I mean, with Gibbo, it's the thing with Gibbo. He's one of those drivers you don't really see much of. They don't really make much noise, but they always end up finishing, you know, getting good points. I think Gibbo is very, very wise. He's very experienced, one of the more experienced drivers on the grid. And he's just a solid driver, really. I mean, you can always count on Gibbo to turn up to races. You can always count on Gibbo to score good points and to stay out of trouble. And yeah, that's what he's done. I think without Gibbo, the season would be looking much, much worse for Alpine. I mean, currently he's not looking very good right now. They're 6th on 16 points. But without Gibbo, they'll probably be at the bottom with Red Bull and AlphaTauri, or Racing Bulls, whatever you call them. So yeah, I'll give Gibbo a C. Just because of the fact we've not really seen much of him. He had a very good drive at Singapore, obviously, so maybe you could say a C+. But yeah, it is what it is, really. Domi's been given a D. Pace-wise, I think Domi's got very good race pace. I mean, we saw it Japan. We saw Domi finish P5, actually, P5 on the road, which was very impressive, you know. Very good weekend for himself and for the Haas team. Australia, however, Australia. That was a very, very bad weekend for him. He made contact on multiple occasions with Gibbo and with Chiconas as well. I think he made contact with them on a total of 6 times, I think, between Gibbo and Chiconas, maybe even 7. Yeah, just a very, very bad race weekend for him. I don't know what he was doing. I guess everyone has bad races. Because of his driving, he was given a race ban, so he missed the race at Singapore and he didn't race here at Qatar. So we haven't seen too much of Domi. We saw one very good showing at Japan, then we saw one very, very horrific, you know, terrorist almost like showing at Australia. So hopefully Domi can come back to his senses, to his normal ways. Hopefully he'll race at Coda and can put in another good performance. But yeah, a D rating is there for Domi. Now we're getting to the end of the top 15 now, and this is where it kind of gets kind of weird because these drivers haven't really raced much. I mean, Ladtastic has, to be fair, so I'll do him first. P11 in the standings. Oh yeah, by the way, I just remembered Gibbo is no longer at Alpine. He's at Williams, and Williams are on 32 points. So yeah, my fault there. I keep on thinking he's still at Alpine. But yeah, anyways, Ladtastic, 12 points. Ladtastic's built a reputation of DNFing a lot of times. You know, he DNF'd again at Japan, Australia, he wasn't there, Singapore, finished P7, which was, I guess, you know, decent, and P7 again at Qatar, so it's been okay, I guess. I mean, I've given him a C rating. Again, Ladtastic, you don't really, the only time you really see Ladtastic is when he DNFs, you know. But when he doesn't DNF, you don't see much of him. He's just there doing his own thing. He's there scoring decent points. But whether Latastic will ever get to the heights that we saw him on the 23 model, you know, back in Gen 3. I remember his pace there, man. I remember his pace on the 23 model at Australia. Showed brilliant pace. Could have got pole position, obviously, when he first arrived. And then even at the start of the 24 model, his race pace in the wet was very, very impressive, you know, in Season 1, Gen 4 Season 1. But we've not seen anything like that since. So, you know, I do hope for Latastic's sake that we can see Latastic cooking again. But yeah, we'll have to see. Next is Commander. I've given him a B. He's only raced once. He raced at Qatar. Came in as a reserve for Aston Martin. Scored 10 points, good points. Went home, really. Not much else to say. I've given him a B. I mean, it's only one showing, really. Luigi. I've given him a C+. Again, one showing at Japan. Scored good points. Qualified well. You know, finished P6. And yeah, that's all we've seen from him. Bezzy, I've given him a D. He raced at Australia, DNF, and yeah, where did he get his points? I don't even know where he got his points at, to be honest. Well, he got his points somewhere. He's got 2 points right now. He's on a D, and Noah is also on a D. You know, we've only seen him race once. To be fair, he did race well at Japan, but then was given a penalty, which shifted him all the way down to P10. But yeah, no, he qualified P18. I think he finished P5 on the road, P4, P5 on the road. It was definitely a very good drive from Noah, but then obviously the penalty, and we've only seen him once this season. So yeah, I mean, that's my rating, that's my ranking of the GCOR drivers this season after 4 races. Let me know your thoughts. Was I right? Was I wrong? Tell me about it. Anyways, without further ado, thank you and goodbye.